So these are what the keychains look like. And there's the back of it, and you can put your keys on here if you like, or if you just want to hang the keychain onto your purse, I'm going to show you how to make this little strap, this cute button on it, and you can put whatever button that you like onto yours, and you can see how it closes up, and you can hang this onto your purse. And I had two different styles that I'm going to show you. You could either make one with the bell on it and the collar, or you can leave the bell and the collar off and just make the cat. And again, you can take off the strap if you don't want that and just use it as a keychain. For this project, you're going to need your G crochet hook or 4mm crochet hook. And you're also going to need two different sized tapestry needles. And here I'm just showing you the size difference. I use this larger size to sew the face on to the cat, and then the smaller size is used to fit through the button hole. And I'm going to show you how to thread this smaller tapestry needle. You're going to need this device to help you with that. It just helps thread the yarn through the small eye of the tapestry needle. The buttons that I'm using has a really pretty heart glittery. This is the front and this is the back of the button. And then you can see it has the holes in it that your tapestry needle will fit through to sew the yarn on. It just makes it extra secure, but you can use a regular sewing needle and thread too if you want. And I used crafting with buttons. They come in packages and you get all kinds of different variety of buttons. You can also get a package of these Jingle Bells, and I'm going to show you, you don't have to use this, but I'm going to show you what it looks like with the key ring that I used. Comes in a package of 2. It's a tan microfiber purse tab, and it's by Everything Mary. And this is just a close-up so you can see what I had used. You can use different key rings if you want, but I'm just going to show you a close-up of this one that I used. The yarn that I used is Caron Simply Soft, and I used this white color as well as the watermelon color. You can use any black yarn that you want, and I still have a lot of my Vanna's Glamour black, soft black yarn, so I'm going to use that. And also Red Heart Super Saver, and this is my gold colored yarn. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start with the white colored yarn, and we're going to do a slip knot. Just take your yarn and fold it over on itself to form a loop, and then take your crochet hook, and I'm using my G or 4mm crochet hook, and then just hold the base of your loop with your middle finger and thumb, and then you're just going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for a slip knot. Now you're going to chain 10. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you have a chain of 10. Now you're just going to we're going to move up to the second row. So you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to go into the third chain from the hook. So counting this first one here, that's 1, 2, 3. So we're going to go into that third chain from the hook, and we're going to do a single crochet. So you're going to bring up a loop. Now you have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through both for a single crochet. And then you're going to do a single crochet into every stitch back to the beginning. So go ahead and do a single crochet into every stitch back to the beginning. I'm going to do one more with you. Go into the next stitch over, bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through both for a single crochet. So go ahead and do a single crochet all the way back to the beginning, and then come back and I'll help you move up to the next row. Now your work should look like this, and we're going to move up to the next row. So you're going to chain 1. Okay, so after your chain 1, go ahead and turn your work. And now we're going to do a single crochet into every stitch back across to the other end. So here you can see at the base of your chain 1, there's a little upslope. You're not going to go into that stitch. You're going to go into the next stitch over. So take your crochet hook and go into that next stitch over. Bring up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through both for a single crochet. Go into the next stitch. Do a single crochet, and go ahead and do a single crochet all the way to the end. And then come back. Okay, so I finished all the way to the other side except for 2 stitches. I just wanted to show you this because sometimes it's hard to miss that last stitch. The 9th stitch is easy to see, so you can go into that 9th stitch and do your single crochet. But then sometimes you think that you're done and you'll miss that last stitch and it can make your work go look crooked. So now just go into that last stitch, the 10th stitch, bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for your 10th stitch. And then you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. And you're going to do a single crochet in every stitch back across again. And you're going to do this 1 single crochet into every stitch for 12 rows. And after you've completed the 12th row, come back and I'll show you how to change colors. Okay, so now after you finish 12 rows of the white, and you can see how you get a straight edge if you don't miss that 10th stitch. And now you're going to take your second color that you're using and you're going to hook it and bring it through your loop, and you're going to do a chain 1. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through that loop for chain 1. Now you can cut your previous yarn that you were using. In my case it was the white yarn. And I'm just going to tie a knot. And now you're going to take your loose yarn ends because you're going to bury those as you work. So I've got both my gold and the white yarn, loose yarn ends. And I'm going to take my crochet hook and go into the next stitch over. And I'm going to go behind those loose yarn ends. And I'm going to bring up a loop, 2 loops on my hook. And then I'm going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through both for a single crochet. And then you're just going to do single crochets into every stitch across. And now you're going to do it the same way as you did for the white yarn, except you're going to be doing 8 rows with the gold color instead of 12 like you did for the white color. So now that I've buried my loose yarn ends enough, I'm going to go ahead and just cut those. Get those out of my way. And then I'm just going to continue working with my gold yarn. And again, with the gold yarn, you're going to want to do 8 rows. So as soon as you're finished doing 8 rows of the gold yarn, come back and then we'll do the face. This is how your work should look, and you should have finished 8 rows of the gold. Now you're going to finish off. So you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and then go through that loop and make sure you pull enough yarn through for sewing. And now you're going to look at your work and find out which side you want for the right side and which side will be the wrong side. And I'm going to use this as my right side. Now you're going to get whatever color you want for the nose and mouth and the ears. For my second one that I'm making, I'm going to use the watermelon color, Caring Simply Soft. So go ahead and get your tapestry needle and get some of your sewing yarn, and then we'll make the nose and the mouth. Now you're going to take your tapestry needle and come up from the wrong side out the right side, about midway between the 2 colors that you chose for your keychain, and then you're going to leave a long enough yarn on the other side for tying your knot, and I'm just going to hold it to the side for now as I make the nose. And I'm just going to go over and down about halfway on the next row, because you don't want too big of a nose. And then I'm going to go straight down just 1 row, making a small diamond. So I just went straight down 1 row and then back up to the halfway point where I went in initially. And I'm just making a small diamond. So now I'm going to go halfway on the opposite side and then back down in the bottom part of the diamond. And you can see how I'm making a really small diamond. And then I'm going to go back up through the top and then back on the other side, the halfway mark. And then I have a small cute diamond nose. And I'm just going to take my tapestry needle and go up through the top and then back down to the bottom. Now you just want to completely cover that nose. And 1 more across should cover this small nose. I'm just going to take 1 more down. And then once you have the nose covered the way you like, then we're going to do the mouth. Okay, so I covered the nose. Now I'm going to take and go down through the bottom of the diamond. And you're just going to go down a little bit, just a small amount. And then you're going to go up halfway and a stitch over for the mouth. You're going to make a little smiley face. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. About equal distant. And then you have the cute nose and mouth. And here's what it looks like with the other color. And then just turn your work over. And you're just going to tie a knot. And then you're just going to leave small loose yarn ends. They're going to be on the inside. No one's going to see them. You don't want them too close because then your knot may come out. and you don't want that. So now you're going to get some black yarn on your tapestry needle, and we're going to do the eyes. Now for the eyes, you're going to come up about the same distance and a stitch over from the nose, a couple of stitches over from the nose, and leave enough yarn on the back for tying your knot. And I'm just going to hold the black yarn to the side with my other hand. And then I'm going to go up one row at an angle, about half a stitch over to the side. And then I'm going to come up about a stitch over from the inside. And then I'm going to go back across to where I had gone in before. And then I'm going to come up through the bottom. And you want to be about the same distance or same level as where you went in initially, but a couple stitches over. And then go back up the previous row at an angle. And then you have the little eye arc there. And now we're going to do the eyelash. Here, just go up a row, and then you want to go up at an angle. And then you want to go about half a stitch over, and then up parallel to the other eyelash. And then you have your eyelashes, and now you're going to do your whiskers. So you're going to go about a stitch down, a row down from the eyes, and then go across, and then try to make it a slight upward slope, but you don't want to touch your eye. You don't want that touching the eye. And then go down, same level as the previous whisker, and then you're going to go down a row, about half a row. And then you have your whisker. Then you're going to turn your work over and then just tie a knot. And then just, again, leave small amount of loose ends. And then you have one side done. Go ahead and do the other side the exact same way, and then come back. You should be done making the face, and this is how your face should look on your keychain. Now you're going to take your tapestry needle and put it onto that long end of yarn that you left for sewing, or just get some extra yarn from what you used for the top portion of your kitty and put that on your tapestry needle. Then you're going to take your work and you're going to fold it so that the right sides are together and then the wrong side is on the outside. And then you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're just going to sew the two ends together. Just go in and out on those superficial stitches, sewing the two ends together, and then come back. So I've reached the end. I'm going to go ahead and just tie a knot. And then once I'm done tying the knot, you're going to still need this long yarn if you still have a long yarn end, and then just turn your work inside out so the right side is facing you. And then you're just going to fold the work so that the gold is lined up on both ends. And then make sure your long yarn end for sewing is on the side that you're going to be sewing the ends together. You could tuck your loose yarn ends into the inside And then you're just going to take your tapestry needle, put it on the gold color, or whatever color that you used for the top of the cat, and then you're going to finish sewing only the gold portion together on both sides. And then once you've sewn that together, you can take your tapestry needle and bring it back across to the other side, and then sew that side together. So like I said, if you ran out of gold colored yarn, you can just get more of whatever color yarn that you used and just sew the two sides together. And then once the sides are sewed together, you're just going to take and tie a knot. And then once you've finished tying your knot, you can bury your loose yarn in. Just take it and come out anywhere on the top portion, making sure you don't mess up your face. And then just cut that. And now you're just going to get whatever color yarn you used for the bottom, and then we're going to sew the bottom sides together. And make sure before you completely sew the sides together, you put a little stuffing inside so that you have a little stuffing, kind of like a little pillow. And then you can finish sewing it together. Okay, so I've sewed all of the sides together, and I put a little stuffing inside too. And you can see how it's looking like the one that I did before. And now I'm going to make the ears. So you're going to take whatever color, and then I'm going to use the same color that I used for the nose, just like I did for this one. And you're just going to take your yarn, and you're going to do a slip knot. So you're just going to fold the yarn over on itself. And I'm still using my G hook, or 4mm crochet hook. And I'm going to take my middle finger and thumb, hold at the base of the loop that I just formed, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and pull it through that loop for your slip knot. And then you're going to go ahead and chain 1, 2, 3. So I have a chain of 3. Now I'm going to go up to the next row. So I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. So here is the first chain, and here is the second chain. So I'm going to do a slip stitch, go into that second chain, I'm going to yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. And then I'm going to do a single crochet into the second stitch, the next stitch I mean. Yarn over and go through both for single crochet, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next and last stitch. So I'm going to go into that last stitch, yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on your hook for a slip stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, and then I'm going to do a slip stitch. So I'm going to yarn over and bring the yarn through both loops on my hook for a slip stitch. And then I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch over. So yarn over, bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And then I'm going to finish off. So I'm going to yarn over and then just bring enough yarn through for sewing. And you can see how you have a little triangle for the ear. So you're going to need 2 of these for the front of the ears, and then you're going to need 2 in the gold color, or whatever color you use for the top of your cat, for the back of the ears. So you should have 4 total, but 2 with the color that you used for the nose, and then 2 with the color that you used for the top of the head, and then come back and I'll show you how to sew them on. Now you should have the 4 parts for the ears, and you're just going to take 2 of them, take the inner ear and place it on top of the back of the ear, and then you're going to take your tapestry needle on the long end that you left for sewing, or just get the same color yarn as the front of the ear, and you're going to use that color to sew the 2 pieces together. So you're just going to take your tapestry needle and just sew the 2 sides together. So then you can turn your work over and then take and just finish sewing back to the top. And then you can go down the other side. And then once you reach the bottom, you can take and tie a knot. And then just leave that end for now, because you may use that to sew. And then take, if you left a long yarn end on the back of the ear, you can take that and then just take it straight down, making sure you don't leave that color onto the front. And then that yarn end can be used for sewing. And then you have the point of the ear. Now I'm going to take my ear and just place it onto the corner where I'm going to sew it, and I have all my loose yarn ends towards the back. And then I'm just going to take one of the loose yarn ends with the tapestry needle, or you can take a new colored yarn to sew. But I'm just going to sew the ear into place. So go ahead and sew your ears on. Onto your work. And then take all the loose yarn ends towards the back. And then I'm just taking my gold loose yarn end and just making sure to sew the back on, the back of the ear. And then once you've sewn the back of the ear on, then you can take and tie a knot. And then after you've tied your knot, you can take your loose yarn end and then just take it and come out anywhere on the back and then cut it. So go ahead and bury all of your loose yarn ends and sew your other ear on and then come back. Okay, so you should have your ears sewn on and your loose yarn ends buried, and this is how it looks. And this is how the other one looks. And now I'm going to show you how to do an optional bell if you want that. You can use whatever color you want for your collar. I'm using the watermelon color or hot pink. Just take your yarn and fold it over on itself to form a loop. We're going to do a slip knot. And then I'm using my G or 4mm crochet hook still. Take your middle finger and thumb and hold it at the base of the loop. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through that loop for a slip knot. And now you're going to chain 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you have a chain of 10. Now you're going to hold that last chain with your middle finger and thumb. We're going to move up to the next row. And the first thing you do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's going to count as your first double crochet for the next row. Now we're going to do a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook, which is the stitch that you're holding with your thumb and your middle finger. You're going to yarn over. You're going to go into that 4th chain from the hook. You're going to bring up a loop. 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. And that's your next double crochet. So now you're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through 2. So you're going to do 1 double crochet into every stitch all the way back to the beginning, and then come back, and I'll show you how to sew it onto the cat. Okay, so I just finished my last double crochet in my last stitch. So now I'm going to finish off. I'm going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring enough yarn through for sewing the collar on. Now you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're going to take the leash. You're going to put it at the bottom of the head. Make sure you line it up. And then you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're going to go through the superficial stitch and then go through part of the stitch on the cat's head, and you're just going to take and sew those 2 stitches together. You can see how I did mine. And while you're doing it, you want to make sure that the pink line that you're creating on the white side lines up and makes a nice, neat line as you're working. So go ahead and finish sewing the leash all the way across and then come back. Now I have the collar sewn in place, and I'm going to take some pink yarn or the same color that I did for the collar and my tapestry needle. And this large tapestry needle will fit through the back of the bell for sewing, which is really nice. So then I'm going to take and I'm going to fold the collar in half, and then I'm going to take my bell and place it right in the center, right below the nose. And then I'm going to take and come in from the other side. Make sure you get some of the color in the tapestry needle for sewing, and then you can slip your bell on that way too if you want. And then leave enough yarn in the back for tying your knot, and then go right above the bell and back to towards the back. And then I'm just going to finish sewing the collar together. And then I'm going to go through back across. I'm going to go through the bell one more time with my tapestry needle. And then I'm going to go back across the other side until I've got the two sides sewn together. And then once I have the two sides sewn together, I'm just going to take and weave my loose yarn ends back towards each other. And then I could tie a knot. And then you can see how it looks on the front. You have a little bell. And then you can bury your loose yarn ends, and then you're done. Now you're going to take whatever color you used for the top portion of your cat, and you're going to take your crochet hook, and you're going to hook one of the stitches on the back of the head, and then you're going to take your yarn and you're going to hook your yarn and bring it through. Then you're going to chain one, and then we're going to tie a knot. And then you're going to make a chain of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you're going to finish off, yarn over, and then pull enough yarn to bury into your work. And now you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're going to take your keychain and you're just going to take your tapestry needle and bring it through the gap in the leather, and that will bring through the chain 10 that you just crocheted. And then you're going to tie a knot to the beginning loose end. And then you have the keychain The cat will be on the keychain now. Then you're going to take your loose yarn ends and you're going to bury those into anywhere into the back of the head. Now you have your two different styles of Lucky Cats keychains. You have the one without the collar and the bell, and then one with the collar and the bell. Now I'm going to show you how to do the little button strap. Go ahead and take whatever color yarn you want for your strap. I'm going to use the same watermelon color that I used for my cat. So you just take, and we're going to do the slip knot like we did before. Just fold over, form a loop. Take your G or 4mm crochet hook, middle finger and thumb to hold the base of the loop. Yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through that loop for your slip knot. Then you're going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you're going to chain 1 for the next row. And then you're going to go into the third chain from the hook. So here's 1, 2, 3. We're going to go into the third chain from the hook and do a single crochet. Bring up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and go through both for a single crochet. And then you're going to do a single crochet all the way back across to the beginning and then come back. Now you're going to do a chain 1 and then turn your work, and just like we did for the cat's head, you're going to do 1 single crochet into every stitch, and you're going to do this for 16 rows and then come back. So 1 single crochet into every stitch for 16 rows. Your work should look like this. You should have completed 16 rows. Now we're going to do the buttonhole row. So you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to do a single crochet into the next 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then you're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and you're going to skip the next 2 stitches. So you're going to skip 1, 2 stitches and work a single crochet into the third stitch, and then do 1 single crochet into the last 2 stitches. Whoop. And then you're going to chain 1. You're going to do 1 more row of single crochet into every stitch, and then for the 2 that you did the chain 2 for the buttonhole stitch, you can just go right into the hole itself and do 2 single crochet, and then do 1 single crochet into the last 3 stitches, and then you're going to finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn for burying your yarn into your work. And then you have your buttonhole. And then I'm going to use this for the right side, and then this side will be my wrong side. So I'm going to take and fold my work over so the right side's facing me, so I can see where I'm going to be sewing my heart button on. So you can pick whatever button you want. If you're using the same kind of button that I'm using, you'll notice that the heart has a very glittery side and then a dull side. For this one, I'm going to use the glittery side. And I'm going to be using my small tapestry needle. So to thread my small tapestry needle, I'm going to be using a special device to help me get the yarn through the small eye of the tapestry. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take the hook end and place it through the eye of the tapestry needle. And then I'm going to take the yarn, I'm going to use the same color yarn, and then hook it and then hold it like this, and then take the hook and bring it right back through the tapestry needle, and I found that jiggling it up and down helps to get the yarn through. Oh, I hooked myself. And I'm just going to cut a little bit of the yarn off to use for sewing now with my tapestry needle. So then I'm going to take my button and place it right where, make sure your buttonhole is right above where your button's going to be. And then take your tapestry needle and sew your button in place. See if I can find the buttonhole. Ah! It's probably easier just to do this. It's so glittery. And then just pull the yarn through. Make sure you leave enough yarn on the back for tying your knot. And then just bring the yarn back through. You can see how pretty that looks. And then go ahead and just tie your knot on the back. And then I'm going to go ahead and go one more time through with my tapestry needle. It's just helpful to tie it first, because if you try to go a second time, it may snag your yarn and just be harder that way. So now I'm just going to find the buttonhole again. And of course the second time through is a little bit harder. And you may just want to go just one time, but I'm going to try to go twice just to make it extra secure. Yep, that worked. So now I have the yarn going through there twice, and then I'm going to take and tie a knot, and then just bury all of your loose yarn ends, and you can use your other tapestry needle to bury your loose yarn ends. And if you don't have the smaller tapestry needle, you can use regular needle and sewing needle and thread to sew this button on. And I'm not going to cut it too close because I want to bury the loose yarn ends. Except I'm going to use my larger tapestry needle to do that. So go ahead and bury all of your loose yarn ends and then come back and I'll show you how the finished product looks. So here's how my work looks after I've buried all of my loose yarn ends. And I'm just going to take the keychain and slip the strap through, and then you can just button it closed. And now I have a little keychain with the strap if you just want to hang it onto your purse, or you can just use it as a keychain too. Hang whatever keys that you want on there. So these are what the keychains look like. And there's the back of it, and you can put your keys on here if you like, or if you just want to hang the keychain onto your purse, I'm going to show you how to make this little strap, this cute button on it, and you can put whatever button that you like onto yours, and you can see how it closes up, and you can hang this onto your purse. And I had two different styles that I'm going to show you. You could either make one with the bell on it and the collar, or you can leave the bell and the collar off and just make the cat. And again, you can take off the strap if you don't want that and just use it as a keychain.